What's up, everybody? We're on a podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Game Awards yet again. Talk about two different games that, of course, are near and dear to my heart, or franchises, I guess, that these games belong to. But I wanted to throw them both in because I think they just kind of make sense to do that. Kingdom Hearts 4 and Final Fantasy 7 Part 3. What are the odds that these games are at the Game Awards? Now, here's the deal. One of these, I feel rather strongly that it actually stands a pretty good shot at being there, and one game I really don't think so. So let me know in the comments right now. Pause the video. Which one do you think I'm about to say? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's just get into it. So to me, Kingdom Hearts 4 is the one that I really don't have belief is going to be there. Look, does it make sense to? I think it does. I think it's been long enough. I think people are desperate. I think you go back to earlier this year. We get, of course, those famous pictures that will forever, I guess, live in our memories of. Well, at least we had that, right? We had a sacrifice missing link to get a couple images for Kingdom Hearts 4. If that's what it takes, like, what do you want us to sacrifice next? We have kidneys. We have all sorts of things we could sell. So you have that. But ever since then, of course, you've had absolutely nothing. And Kingdom Hearts 4, to me, I'm really, I'm believing in my own theory, which maybe is a little condescending. I've said for a long time, I think a lot of people have said, like, are we living in a world where for some reason Kingdom Hearts has to wait for, like, Final Fantasy to be fully done? And look, I really want that to not be true, but, like, all the signs kind of point to that is true. I guess until it's proven not true, it will be true, at least in my head. It really is actually going to come down to which of these two games is going to release first. Final Fantasy 7 Part 3, which is probably 2027, okay? Probably is, which is pretty cool. Actually, that's going to work its way into why I think that game is going to be shown. But Kingdom Hearts, is that 27? Is that 28? I mean, my dear God, I hope it's not 28, but it could be. It could be. And, the longer Kingdom Hearts 4 is out, the less chance I think it has to be shown. There's not too much more to be said. I think a lot of it comes from desperation. Trust me, I get it. I've been there. We're all there with the Kingdom Hearts fandom. I think the Kingdom Hearts group deserves it more. Can I be a little controversial here? I think, Final Fantasy 7 is big and it's got its fans, and I'm a huge fan, and I've actually liked what they've done with which actually makes me a controversial fan. But I like Kingdom Hearts more as number one. And number two, you got to throw us a bone because it's just been so much longer, and I feel like we've been about as patient as one could expect from a Kingdom Hearts fan. So I just don't have a lot of hope. I mean, honestly, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Hopefully this can be a jinx, and we can look back at this and say, look how silly I was, and look how wrong I was. I want that. I want to be wrong pretty massively there. In terms of 7 Part 3, I'm just feeling it. I'm really, I was talking to a friend of mine a few days ago, and we were kind of going over games that made sense or don't make sense for the Game Awards, which actually works really well because I do these videos. But 7 Part 3 was one of mine that I said, if you're looking for a big game, a show closer, one of those, we have one final announcement, right? World reveal, and you want someone to close that show, this could be one. And now, it's not just like wishful thinking. It's not just me saying it. What do we know? A couple things. Well, number one, there's been a lot of connections already, and Final Fantasy has been shown off at Jeff Keighley events in the past, okay? So it wouldn't be the first time. Kingdom Hearts, it's been so long. I don't even remember, has Kingdom Hearts ever been shown at a Jeff Keighley event? Game Awards has been going on for a while. I know D23 has always been a big thing for Kingdom Hearts, and they've done maybe at Gamescom before. So maybe they've been attached to Jeff, but, I think Final Fantasy, Rebirth was announced at, I think, Summer Game Fest, right? So that has that connection. And then also just from Hamaguchi specifically, right? The man talks a lot, and I can appreciate that. He seems like one of the people, and I like that about him. He's talked a lot about it, and he's always made it sound like it's coming really, really soon. And again, you go back to that year thing, and you also go back to, well, when do you announce games? Like how long of a gap do you want? And the reality is, if 7 Part 3 releases in a year and a half from now, comes out middle of 27, it's crazy because we have to think about, the fact that in a month or two, we're in 2026, right? So if the game comes out February, March, April, May, June, 2027, that's only a year and a half away. Only a year, which is, to some people that might be long. I think the older you get, the more you'll realize that's not actually all that long. I think that really works so perfectly to be shown off at the Game Awards. And look, this time around, there's really no slant. There's no PlayStation, at least it seems. There's probably no PlayStation exclusivity. It's coming out everywhere, on everything under the sun, all at one time. And I just feel, and for it to be the closing, not just the closing of the Game Awards, but also the closing act of 7's remake, which has just been this oh my God, I mean, how long is it? It's been like 12, 13, 14 years that they've been like thinking of it. So whenever it happens, it's really going to feel like we've been leading into the moment kind of forever whenever we actually get to see it. But I really, like, the more I think about it, the more I think, because we hear how well it's going, we hear that it's progressing well. I think one of the last things we've heard Hamaguchi say is like, we hope to show it to you in the not too distant future. And whenever developers say that, that really kind of means it's around the corner. Technically though, even when a developer says that you're not going to see the game for a while, or if you remember Witcher 4 last year, a couple weeks before the Game Awards came out, they literally said we weren't going to get a trailer because it's too far away. And then a couple weeks later, they show the freaking trailer for Witcher 4, which kinda, I don't know how that actually plays out because it is too far away, so I don't know if they should have done it. But anyway, I guess you maybe can't read into anything developers say because they kind of lie to your face half the time. But, I just feel all the talk is that it's going well and we're going to see it sooner rather than later. And what does that mean? It probably means, I don't even want to say within the year because I feel like that's too big of a range. I really think we see this thing by summer of 26. Like, if it's not at the Game Awards, I think we see Final Fantasy at the Summer Game Fest of 26. I think it's going to be at a Jeff Keighley event. So it's either, do you show it now and do you wait a year and 4 or 5 months, or maybe even less, or do you show it at Summer Game Fest and you release it within that year, from June to June of 27, which that's nice, to do something like that, show it comes out within that year. That would be really nice. But, I think they actually, well, we see it with Kingdom Hearts, and I would say even Final Fantasy, they tend to actually stretch it. They tend to show it outside of a year rather than inside a year. But I'm really starting to believe, I mean, you put me on the spot and you tell me, name a couple like high profile, and we'll talk about those other videos for other games, but you asked me to like name some like, okay, well, what are some really big games that we know are coming, but like, they still need their big reveal. I really think Final Fantasy is probably my top 3. I have one other one definitely in my head that I want to do a video on, but Final Fantasy is definitely like, okay, that makes sense for like a big show. And also, it ties back to all the awards it won last year, kind of double down on that. And we know that Jeff actually likes to do stuff like that too. If there's a game coming from somebody that just won things or was nominated for a bunch of stuff the year before, maybe it has more of a likelihood to be there the following year. So there's a little bit more to it there as well. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.